Tonight, breaking news in New York City. Federal agents sweeping in. The images coming in now. Late today, federal agents, including ICE, launching a crackdown in New York City, sweeping through Canal Street in Lower Manhattan. Chaos erupting, traffic coming to a halt. Multiple people detained tonight. We'll take you live to Lower Manhattan. Also tonight, sources tell ABC News President Trump is now pushing the Justice Department to pay him $230 million in taxpayer money for past investigations involving Trump. The U.S. taxpayers would foot the bill. The government shutdown tonight, day 21, no signs of compromise. Millions of Americans now affected, real worries for many about putting food on the table. Meantime, at the White House, President Trump hosting Republican senators, calling the sound of demolition at the White House for the president's new $250 million ballroom music to his ears. The emergency landing, the passenger plane, the pilots concerned over pounding on the cockpit door mid-flight on the way to Los Angeles. Tonight, a tropical storm is now formed in the Caribbean, where it's headed, and when this is expected to become a hurricane. Ginger Z is tracking this. Tonight, ABC News, the first, taking you inside the Louvre in Paris. You'll see the gallery and the window where those thieves dressed as construction workers broke in, stealing jewels worth $102 million in under 4 minutes. James Longman takes us in tonight. This evening, the January 6th rioter, pardoned by President Trump, now back under arrest tonight, accused of threatening to kill Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. There is news tonight about longtime Today host Brian Gumbel, rushed to the hospital in New York City. And the stunning images tonight from across the country, the fall foliage, and when it reaches peak.
Shalom, I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders. I'm your brother, Rabbi Nab, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, edifying to the Lord's elect. Now, I want to go into federal agents. Well, we know ICE is going through towns, getting you so-called Negroes. Like, that's an everyday thing, man. That's going to be normal. Okay, if that doesn't wake you up, yesterday I was doing a video about this Mexican who packed all his shit up and he self-deported. Okay, the scriptures don't tell you to do that, by the way. But if you take it upon yourself, you're not supposed to trust your enemy, man. You think he's sending most of y'all home, man? There's reports of him dumping some of y'all off in the ocean, man. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a one-way ticket back to Mexico. You think he really want to bring you to Mexico, man? He loves free labor, man. You just willingly went into slavery. That's what they're doing with you, man. He's getting away from China, right? Where you get cheap labor. Where do you think he's going to get cheap labor from if he's not dealing with China anymore? He's going to get it from you until he automate what he got to automate. But even that's not going to be as efficient as you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. He knows how to get y'all to work, putting you back into slavery. Well, I want to get this where it says sources say Trump wants $230 million from the DOJ.
Now pushing the Justice Department to pay him $230 million in taxpayer money for past investigations involving Trump, including the Russia election interference investigation and the
taxpayer money for all the allegations against them. So he wants the money that's out of your pocket, not out of the people who he's not coming after. The Democratic Party, they're the ones who got millions of dollars, right? Nancy Pelosi worth 180 something million, something crazy. Just throwing a number out there. The Clintons, millions and millions of dollars. Why don't you go to them? They're worth all that money. They can pay you that money. Nope, he won't come after your money. Okay? Over some fraudulent, I don't even know if it's fraudulent. All of this is a big show. It's just a big, huge enchantment. Proverbs 22 on life and conduct, Proverbs 22:16. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Meaning, you shall come to poverty. In the NLT, it tells you that. Okay? So if you want to, let's get that in the chat. Proverbs 22 verse 16, meaning. Let's see what chat says this is talking about. Proverb gives warning against two opposite but related kinds of injustice and foolishness, oppressing the poor to gain wealth. those who take advantage of the poor by unfair wages, exploitation, or deceit in order to enrich themselves will not prosper in the end. God sees such oppression and will bring judgment or loss upon them. Okay, and eventually Esau is going to lose it all. Precept, Proverbs 14, verse 31, he that oppresseth the poor reproacheth his maker, but he that honoreth him have mercy on the poor. And he don't have no mercy on the poor. Okay, and the poor is talking about you Israelites. The only mercy he got for you is alligator, Alcatraz, terrorist prison in El Salvador. As a matter of fact, we just watched. He's doing something in New York City to y'all. Let me finish this. And I'm gonna go back to that
classified documents case involving what was found at Mar-a-Lago. The U.S. taxpayers would foot the bill here, and here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, sources tell ABC News President Trump is pushing for the government to give him $230 million, a wholly unprecedented.
That's a wholly unprecedented. No, that's an unholy unprecedented. Let me tell you, this sound just exactly the way it sounds. How foolish it sounds to the ears is just as how wicked this place is, man. Okay, you looking your mind is on getting $230 million. From taxpaying dollars, man. If that's not a robbery, what is he gonna do with that money, man? You know, what is he gonna do with that, man?
Personal payout from the American taxpayers as compensation for the federal investigations he's faced. The president says the Justice Department owes him.
I guess they probably owe me a lot of money for that. Probably, yeah, that's true. That's very interesting.
President Trump filed claims against the Justice Department in 2023 and again last year. One about the investigation into his campaign and Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The other concerning the FBI search of his Mar-a-Lago home, where agents removed boxes of classified documents Trump had taken from the White House and kept in a storage area, a ballroom, and even a bathroom. The president...
Now that the taxpayers agree to any of this, you don't have no say-so on any of this. But this is what your money's being used for. Who authorized them to spend money on this type of stuff? Okay, that's who you should be going after. That's who you should be suing. All right, and then there's another situation where, when you sue people, you pretty much, even if you get them, they don't hold anybody accountable for their actions, and this falls on you. And then I was thinking about Elon Musk and his Doge thing when they were looking through the government's fundings and where the money, different small businesses and you know the money was going to some foolish stuff, man, millions and millions of dollars. No one even gets arrested when this happens. Okay, and this is what he ran on, talking about draining the swamp, you know, getting things in order, but you know he even said he was gonna lock up Hillary Clinton. You know, for all these things. So why aren't you going after them? Now it's all bullshit. They're all working together. There's no difference between the two. But people still can't see that. As long as they keep these two extreme sides and make everyone think like you got to choose a side, you fall for it every single time. It's just it's fake.
And calling himself a victim of malicious prosecution, claiming his privacy rights were violated. If the settlement goes through, he would personally collect nearly $250 million from American taxpayers.
If I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House where we restore the White House. And we're doing a great job in the White House.
The Justice Department officials who would likely have to sign off on the settlement were once President Trump's own personal lawyers. Attorney General Pam Bondi and her deputy Todd Blanche. They recently stood with the president in the Oval Office as he acknowledged the extraordinary situation.
They raided my house in Florida. It was an illegal raid. I have a lawsuit that was doing very well, and when I became president, I said, I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know, how do you settle the lawsuit? I'll say, give me X dollars, right? And I don't know what to do with the lawsuit. It's a great lawsuit, and now I won. It sort of looks bad. I'm suing myself, right?
It don't even make any sense, man. It don't even make any sense. He's suing himself but taking your money. That's why I'm going to Proverbs 22, verse 16. James 5, 1 through 4. Let me get that. Book of James, chapter 5 and 1. Misuse of riches. Oh, yeah, I'll invest it, in the building and back in, donate it to somewhere. That's what all those donations will go into. These private, he'll put the money in a donated area, some company, and it somehow comes right back to him, right into his pockets. They don't put them, because when you donate money, you're not paying taxes on that money. All right, I'm gonna give you the money, but hey, you pretty much somehow later down the road, you donate it back to me. And that's what they were finding when he was saying when Daffy Duck was going around looking with the Doge thing, Department of Government Efficiency, he was calling it, checking to see where the money was going and what was happening. A misuse of your riches. This is what you were seeing. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. And that's exactly, misery is going to come upon you. Okay, so they're set up, Esau's set up to show you what wickedness is and how you're not supposed to run a government. Okay, so you're supposed to be learning through the scriptures why this is righteous, what the Lord is showing you. He's showing you why his word's not just, this is wisdom, man. It's showing you how to run a government, man. Okay, and if it's not run under the law, statutes, and commandments, then there's consequences to it. Okay, James 5 and 2. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Let's look this up too. James chapter 5, verses 1 through 4, meaning. Is it 1 through 4? I think it's 1 through 5, maybe. Nope, 1 through 4. Okay, it says, go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Meaning, James begins by warning the wealthy oppressors who live in luxury and selfishness. Their riches give them temporary comfort, but judgment is coming. Okay, so especially the plane that he had from Qatar a couple months ago, a $500 million plane from a foreign country. When you start seeing your leaders have these type of things, you're gonna start questioning them. Like, what's the purpose here? Their wealth cannot save them from the destruction and sorrow that awaits because of their greed and oppression of others, especially the poor and righteous, right? Which is why Job 20 and 22 is coming around the corner. Here it is. The government's not open, and he's talking about taking $230 million of taxpayer money and pocketing it. Oh no, I'm gonna put it over here, and he probably got a bridge in Brooklyn he wants to sell you too. Yeah, I'm gonna donate it over here. Fix the Whitehouse, man. It don't cost no $230 million to fix the Whitehouse, man. The Whitehouse is made by slaves, by the way. Proverbs 11 and 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. Yeah, righteousness delivereth from death, and that's not a righteous thing to take from the poor, especially in a time when they need it the most. Luke 6 verse 24. But woe unto you that are rich, for ye have received your consolation. I mean, this somewhat applies because mostly it's for y'all Israelites who are comfortable, receiving some type of comfort under these Edomites, man. They're taking care of you some way, or you think you got it, or you're rich, or you might be a rapper, Jay-Z or somebody. You got a lot of money, you sitting on a lot of cash. That's your consolation. The Lord comforted you during the time of affliction. So when the destruction comes, you're going to be destroyed. So, but woe unto you. Woe means death and destruction. You that are rich in money and in wealth, and you're comfortable here, okay? But the elect, or the men of Israel who are suffering for righteousness' sake, the Lord's pretty much keeping them in this truth. It tells you in Proverbs, the 30th chapter, how that what's that other precept too? Proverbs 30, and then there's one in Philippians. Proverbs 30, verse 4. Who have ascended up into heaven? Nope. Proverbs 30, verse 7. Two things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Because you don't want to get too puffed up and wax fat like the nation did when the Lord gave us too much. Well, he didn't give us too much. We didn't accept it. We didn't deserve it. Okay, especially if we fell away. We got too high-minded. That's what riches does to you, man. You know, you covet things that you shouldn't be coveting because you forgot who gave it to you in the first place and how you got it. Ultimately, it was from the Lord. Proverbs 30 and 8, remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Vanity, it can come in the form of multiple things, man. Vanity is being comfortable too. Being comfortable in your captivity. That's vain, man. You know, and it's a lie too, because in all actuality, that's all gonna come to an end. All right, so you ain't living according to the truth. Okay, this place is gonna be destroyed. There's a place, there's a conduct, a manner of persons that you ought to be in this time. Proverbs 30 verse 9, lest I be full and deny thee. And that's what happens when you make a lot of money. You start to deny the Lord and say, who is the Lord Yahweh? Who is he? You know, I'm making enough money. He ain't doing nothing for me. You know, I'm sitting on the 100 million. You know, you're not going to be thinking about the Lord. Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. Or if you're too poor, now you know, it's just as bad as being too rich. You so poor, now you're stealing. You know, you're trying to get it by any means. And then you're still not serving the Lord. So there's a middle ground that we ought to look for. When Paul says he knows how to abound and abase, Philippians 4. Philippians 4. Let's fill them all. Philippians chapter 4. Think of excellence, God's provisions. I'm going to start at 10. But I rejoice in the Lord greatly, that now at the last your care of me have flourished again, wherein ye were also careful, but ye lacked opportunity. Let's see what this is talking about. Philippians 4 and 10 is a verse where the Apostle Paul expresses great joy in the Lord because of the Philippian church has renewed its care and support for him after a period of not being able to. He rejoices that they have finally found an opportunity to show their concern. Even though they had always cared for him, the verse is often paired with the following verses in discussions about contentment and generosity. Let me just look up. Where is Philippians? Where is the church in Philippi? The church in Philippi was in the ancient city of Philippi, located in northeastern Greece on the Via Egnatia. Today, the ruins of the ancient city, including the remnants of its early Christian churches, can be found there. The modern metropolis of Philippi is now based in nearby city of Kavala. Destroyed. Of course, they destroyed it, man. Look at that. These damn devils, man. It's on heaps. Destroyed. Esau keep it like that just so we can look what he did to their temples. Look what they did to their church. The church of Philippi. He's such a noble. He want to rebuild the Ark of Titus, but he don't want to rebuild the church of Philippi and things like that. Showing you he's nothing but the damn devil. He really is, man. Philippians 4 and 11. Now that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am therewith to be content. And we got to learn the same things. You know, whatever state that you're in, you ought to be content, man. Okay? whether you're, however the Lord got you in this time. The beautiful thing about it all is that you're at least here to witness what the Lord is doing every single day. I mean, that's the most comforting thing I can think of. That's better than getting paid at the end of the week, man. To see the Lord actually doing judgments on behalf of the nation of Israel in this time, in the last days, and he got you born ready, keeping you alive. I mean, come on, man, ain't nothing better than that. Philippians 4 verse 12, I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to be abound and to suffer need. Okay, so let's look this up. He knows how to abase and be abounded, man. When you're abased, you're brought to a lower state, and when you're abounding, you have more. It's like an abundance of things. Okay, he knows how to operate in both and still maintain his integrity with the Lord. Okay, Philippians 4 verse 12 states, I know how to be brought low and I know how to abound in any and every circumstance. I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. This verse is part of a larger passage. Yeah. Philippians 4:12 means that Apostle Paul learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether he had plenty or was in need. It signifies that contentment is an inner state, not dependent on external circumstances, but rather on a learned skill of trusting in Hamashiach's provision and strength for every circumstance. And this is the same advice Paul gave to Timothy in 1 Timothy, the 6th chapter. 1 Timothy 6 and 10, I believe. No. What did he say? He said, it might be 2 Timothy. Is it 2nd? No, 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy is what? No, 2 Timothy 1. What did he say to Timothy? He said, godliness with contentment is great gain. Godliness with contentment is great gain. Where's that at? 1 Timothy 6 and 6. I don't know why I didn't see it. I just was there. 1 Timothy 6. Oh, 6 and 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. So, let's look at this up. But godliness with contentment is great gain. This verse written by the Apostle Paul teaches that true wealth is found not in material possessions, but in living a godly life while being satisfied with what one has. And that goes back to the opposite of being content is coveting something. And that's what Esau does. He covets everything, man. He just covets. You got to covet your spirit, just like, Elon Musk. How much is Elon Musk worth? How much is Elon Musk worth?
Check out these pictures.
So Elon Musk is worth 492.3 billion USD. Okay. How much money would you have to spend in order to spend $1 billion in a person's lifetime every day? You would have to spend approximately $31,500 per day to spend $1 billion in a 100-year lifetime, not the other way around. To spend $1 billion every day for a lifetime, a person would need to spend, to spend $1 billion every day. No, I meant to say, so yeah, you would have to spend approximately 31 and a half $31,500 per day to spend $1 billion in a 100-year lifetime, man. And he has $492 billion, man. And he ain't trying to help nobody, but he's just still trying to get richer. So these Edomites, they don't have a mind. And look how they live. It's, it's disgusting, man. It just doesn't even make any sense. So everyone got to be broke so you can walk around like you're better than everybody else. That's all just for his ego, so people can look at him like he's somebody. He rather the whole world perish and die so he can keep his pride. He gotta go, man. It's time to go. That shit is the most childish thing this world. That's childish at the end of the day, showing you that Esau is just a little boy, man. He's just a little boy. Okay? Woe unto you when your king is a child. KJV. Ecclesiasticus 10 verse 16. Okay. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child and thy princes eat in the morning. Let's see what this means. Ecclesiastes 10 verse 16. Meaning. Uses the phrase to describe a nation in decline due to foolish and self-indulgent leadership. And that's what he's doing. Foolish and self-indulgent, man. This verse signifies a state where leaders' immaturity or incompetence is paired with officials who are lazy, drunk, or only concerned with personal pleasure instead of performing their duties to serve the country. And that's what we're saying here, man. And it's not just Duck. Duck is the embodiment of Esau, Edom, okay? But he's not even the one that's in charge. The fact that he even wants money, that shit's low level, because money really ain't nothing. Okay, there's someone that's the elites are above money, man. Money's not the issue anymore. They use money for these peasants. Okay, when we get in the kingdom, man, we're not gonna be operating like y'all, like the common folk. Oh, how many $100 bills you got? You know, Elon Musk, that's a low-level dude, man. He got a bunch of paper Federal Reserve notes that he can get cut off at any time. Because who really runs it is who allows him to flourish in this system. And then he even admitted himself he go back to Amalek. A child king. That's exactly what he is, man. He's a child king. This refers to a leader who is immature, inexperienced, or foolish. Not necessarily a young child by age. The ruler is characterized by a lack of wisdom and discipline. And that's what he has, a lack of wisdom and discipline. This fool actually had he bought a bunch of McDonald's and fries and brought it into the White House. Who wants to eat that shit, man? People who lack wisdom eat that shit. Princes feast in the morning. This indicates that the leaders are not diligently attending to their responsibilities during the early hours, which is the proper time for planning and governing. Instead, they are indulging in feasting, eating McDonald's, which suggests drunkenness, gluttony, and a focus on immediate gratification. Yeah, fast food over the welfare of the nation. So the Lord is exposing him. Okay, all you Edomites out there, man. There's nothing noble about you, man. According to the scriptures, you look like a peasant. You look like a fool being in any position of power. That's what this Bible really showing you. When you really look at it, you look at these people like, and then you see the people who follow them. And like people actually like, what the hell, like what are we doing here? When you actually wake up and you see like, what the hell? This dude's a child and he always been a child. That's what Job was saying in Job the 30th chapter. Okay, our forefathers were reminding us of who the hell this nigga is. Okay, and if you had to understand, you actually realize he's a real nigga. He's a nigga, man. He's the first nigga in the Bible. Okay, going back to the serpent, going back to Cain, going back to Esau. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Okay, so the Job knows when you go Job 1:1, he tells you there was a man in the land of Uz Okay, Uz is an Edom, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright and one that feared God and eschewed evil. Okay, and Job was an Israelite. It's not talking about a so-called white man. All right, Job was from the tribe of Issachar. Okay, Job 10, as a matter of fact. What's that? It won't let me get it. Issachar. I think Genesis 10. Maybe it's Issacharite. I know it was in Genesis. Let's go to Genesis 10. No, not 10. Is it 10? Yeah. Job. Let's Control F. I thought it was in here. Job. No, that's not what I'm looking for. What about Issachar? Well, Issachar doesn't come up. This is way before Issachar, so it might not be. Yeah, right here. Job, Genesis 46 and 13. And the sons of Issachar, Tola, Puvah, and Job, and Shimron. Hold on, let me look this up. Genesis 46 and 13. Let me see if it matches up with Job and Job 101. Job. Okay. Persecuted. Yeah. Same thing. Now, through the Spirit, it could be another one. But, when you read him living in the land of Uz, it makes you think, man. Let me go back to Job 101. It was Job. Job. So, Strong H 347, it means hated. A patriarch, the subject of the book of Job. From H 340, it says in strong definition, hated, i.e. persecuted. So it's saying the same thing. The root word of it is H 330. So Genesis 46 again, Salakia. Sometimes, H 330, no. So two different words. But it's still saying persecuted. Perhaps but more probably by erroneous transcription from H 3437, Job, an Israelite. This is why we got to look into these things. Issachar, a son of Issachar, perhaps an incorrect reading for Numbers 26 and 24. Anyways, long story short, he said I wouldn't even have him by the dogs of my flock. Okay? But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. Okay? Because the elect ultimately were created before, right after Yahweh Shai. Before everything, we were with the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, he gave the blessing. He didn't want the blessing. He sold his blessing for a morsel of meat. Showing you he's a child, man. He's a child. Spiritually, he don't got the spirit at all. Hebrews 12 verse 16, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Idiot, like a kid. He sought it carefully with tears. He didn't want it, but now it's just like a kid. You see, you have two kids, they're playing with toys. The one kid ain't playing with the toy, then the other kid grabbed the toy, and that kid sees the other kid playing with the toy and starts crying for the toy he didn't even want in the first place. And that's Esau. That's Esau. Genesis 25, verse 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 70 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with the same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Oh, shit, man. Your whole name got changed because you were that hungry, though? Yeah, damn, he's a fool, man. And Jacob says, sell me this day thy birthright. You see, right here. Sell me this day thy birthright, okay? This is the best thing Jacob's ever done, man. Okay, because he saw the value through the spirit of his birthright that he didn't even see. And this is his older brother. Not by much, they're twins, and, you know, it was twins in her womb. You know, but the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. So Jacob and Esau, you know, physically, but the spirit goes back. Okay, Esau's spirit goes back to Cain, and goes back to the serpent. Jacob goes back to Abel. You know, and who else? Jacob, Abel. I mean, it's King David. Ultimately, it's the same spirit. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Here goes the fast food. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Okay, he despised it, but now that he sees that, oh shit. Okay, according to the scriptures, I'm coming back in the regeneration or reincarnation, and we're getting closer to Jacob ruling now. So now it's an issue. It wasn't an issue when he was running with his sword, slaying, and Jacob had to go through all of this. But Jacob still understood this. That's why us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we can go through anything. All these different persecutions. This is just normal. This is normalized with us, man. Esau knows it, man. He's trying to put you through everything, but it's all part of prophecy. You know, the Lord's using him as a sword. Okay, we'd rather go through this than what Esau's going to go through in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, Esau, there's nothing Esau can do to us that's not going to be worse for him in the kingdom, man. There's nothing he can do that's going to be worse than him. You Edomites are going to have it the worst. You can go around and pluck every so-called Negro, Latino, Native American. You won't get the elect. You won't get them, man. Actually, I already read Hebrews, the 12th chapter. Okay. So that's you, having it carefully with tears. Ecclesiasticus, actually, am I done with James 5? Yeah, okay. Ecclesiasticus 31, 5-6. He that loveth gold shall not be justified. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it. Makes me think of Daniel, the 5th chapter, when Belshazzar was drinking out of those vessels and giving honor to his gods. Okay, let me grab that real quick. Same thing with Esau. Daniel 5:1. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the 1,000. And that's what he's doing too right now. The duck is doing this. He's setting up on the Whitehouse with a ballroom and all this shit. Here it is. He trying to get $230 million. Get the hell out of here, man. And then for what? So he could drink out of what? To have a feast? That's pretty much what he's doing. What is a ballroom for? Let's look it up. What do you need a ballroom for? What's the purpose of it? A ballroom is a large, elegant room primarily used for hosting formal events with dancing. Historically associated with aristocratic balls in Europe, ballrooms now serve as versatile event venues for a wide range of social and corporate gatherings. The original purpose of a ballroom, from the Latin word ballar, to dance, was to serve as a designated space for formal dancing at grand balls. These gatherings were a central part of aristocratic social life and courtship, where guests would perform elaborate dances like the waltz and minuet to live orchestral music. The large size high ceilings and grand acoustics were designed to accommodate a live orchestra and many dancers. Modern uses today, ballrooms are no longer just for formal balls. The spacious and customizable nature of these rooms, which are often found in hotels, banquet halls, and convention centers, makes them ideal for many other functions. Modern uses include purpose of it for kings. That's what he said. He's setting up Daniel the 5th chapter before he falls. Idiot. For kings and royalty, a ballroom served multiple critical purposes beyond just dancing, functioning as a stage for demonstrating power, reinforcing social hierarchy, and conducting important state business, state ceremonial and state functions, state banquets and investitures. Ballrooms were and still are used for official functions, such as hosting visiting dignitaries, for state banquets, and for royal investiture ceremonies. Court assemblies. A king would use the ballroom to host large assemblies of the court, a strategy famously used by Louis XIV of France. These events were designed to keep the nobility preoccupied with courtly rituals, etiquette, and social climbing, which prevented them from plotting against the monarchy. Dude, setting up a ballroom, man. This is hilarious. Anniversaries and milestones. Royal anniversaries, weddings, and other significant milestones were celebrated with grand balls to project an image of success and stability, projection of power and status, political and social networking. Okay. And what comes up at the bottom, latest details on demolition of Whitehouse East Wing. Okay, 9 hours ago. So this is what he's doing, and it's making me think of Daniel the 5th chapter. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem, that the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. And he probably might even do that too. He probably got access to all of that. He's already trying to build the Archetypus. Okay, he's already blueprints. He already said he had a big one and a small one. Okay, and that's honestly, it's a mockery to the Lord and to you Israelites who don't even know who you are. He's mocking you straight to your face. Look at these stupid ass niggas. I can do whatever the hell I want with these dumb ass niggas, because that's what you are. You're fucking stupid. And the Lord wants you to stay like that so he can destroy your ass. Okay, Daniel 5:3. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of God, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver and of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone. And Esau he believes in everybody but the Most High God and his son. Okay, they worship Satan. Okay, so when they're gonna accustom their success to him. Okay, not the Most High. In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. I wouldn't be surprised if this happens again. Lord just write something in the middle of the White House during his ballroom adventure. Okay, a hand writing on the wall. Then the king's countenance was changed, and his thoughts troubled him, so that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another. Okay, that's a scary sight. The Lord just has some random hand writing on a wall in the middle of a great feast of thousands of his lords drinking wine with the vessels of the Lord and giving thanks to these false gods. Okay. The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. Okay, and he's a warlock. He's a wizard. Okay, MAGA got Pam Bonnie's a damn witch. Okay. J.D. Vance is a warlock. All right, the Ku Klux Klan and all of that bullshit. They're warlocks. They're demons. Okay, that's all they are. That's exactly what they are. That's why they walk around with those stupid ass with all that goes all the way back to Europe. Okay, the Edomites know who they are. They know they're demons. Okay, they're the modern day Chaldeans. Okay. And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about his neck and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. I wouldn't be surprised if he set somebody up like that. Call up an Israelite man to read the handwriting on the wall, and the Lord put the spirit on him to explain exactly how you're going to be destroyed. Because it ain't going to be good. Lord going to tell him the same thing he was told, Belshazzar was told in this time. All right. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. So it's not for everyone to know. He told Joseph that in the dream and the night visions, no, actually he told Job that he said to Joseph, what did he tell Joseph? The Lord shows visions to Joseph, KJV. I think it's Genesis. Genesis 37. I know there's a precept over there. Genesis 37. I don't know where it's at. I think it's like 10 or something. Nope. 9. Genesis 37 and 9. And he dreamed yet another dream and told it his brethren and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream. No, that's not it. I don't know. There's a precept, but Genesis 37 and 7. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose. It says, I can't think of the precept, but it pretty much says that, let me look up the word vision. Vision, Genesis 46 and 2. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob, and he said, here am I. No, that's not it. But basically, he speaks to you. Maybe Numbers 12 verse 6. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. Okay. So that's the same thing he did with Daniel, and he interpreted the handwriting on the wall. Okay, not in this case. In this case, he just broke it down. I said, what does he say to him? Daniel 5 and 16, and I heard of thee that thou canst make interpretations. This is talking about Daniel, and dissolve doubts. Now, if thou canst read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, thou shalt be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about thy neck, and shalt be the third ruler in the kingdom. And Daniel answered and said before the king, let thy gifts be to thyself, and give thy rewards to another, yet I will read the writing unto the king and make known to him the interpretation. O thou king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom, a majesty, and glory and honor. And for majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him, whom he slew. and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. But when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, he was disposed of his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over it whomsoever he will. And thou, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, though thou knewest all this. And you read about that in Daniel, the 4th chapter, towards the end. He took Nebuchadnezzar for 7 years and made him like unto a beast, and he returned him back his kingdom, all in the same lifetime. But this time he was long suffering with Esau. He could have been did Esau dirty any day. He can do it like that, but he's not doing it like that because he's going to do it to show the world his wrath. But has lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy lords, thy wives, and thy concubines have drunk wine in them, and has praised the gods of silver and gold and brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know, and the God in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, has thou not glorified, which is Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. So he told him, and then he told him why he's doing it, and then he told him what the handwriting on the wall was about. Then was the part of the hand set from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written, many, many tekel aparsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many, God have numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and are found wanting. Paris, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. So that's the same thing. The Lord's going to use the Medes and the Persians too. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they took Daniel with scarlet and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night was Belshazzar the king of Chaldeans slain, and Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So, and then that's the modern day Medes are the Russians. But your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. And the modern day Medes are the Russians, and the modern day Persians are the Persians, the Iranians. So you're going to be destroyed, man. So have fun. Have fun, like the Bible tells you to do. So he ain't doing nothing outside of the boundaries that the Lord allowed him to operate in. Lamentations 4, verse 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So you're going to pay for what you did, man. But rejoice and be glad. This is the time for you to be rejoicing. Okay. Ecclesiasticus 31. I wanted to read that real quick. Ecclesiasticus 31. And I'll start at 5. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, and he that followeth corruption shall have enough thereof. Gotta look this up. Of course, it don't break it down. The CEBA says whosoever loves gold won't be declared just, and whosoever pursues profits will be led astray by them. Many have been ruined because of gold. Yeah, that's right. Next verse. Gold have been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. Chasing after money. Ecclesiasticus 31:6. Gold have been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. This verse found in the book of Sirach. Duh, don't break it down. I gotta go in the chat, but I'll look that up later. Oh, provides an ethical guideline about the use of strong drink and wine, stating it is appropriate for those in severe distress to help them cope, but it warns against its abuse. This, I don't know what that's talking about. It doesn't say nothing about wine. It says gold have been the ruin of many, and their destruction was present. So I don't know what it's talking about. It's pretty much, you can't be pretty much justified. He that loveth gold shall not be justified, man. The law is not a respecter of persons. Nothing you can do with money. Can't pay him for anything. It's just covetousness. James 5:2, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. The riches they hoard are decaying, symbolizing that worldly wealth is temporary and useless before God's judgment. The moth-eaten garments show that even what they take pride in, luxury, fine clothing, will rot away. And that's what you take pride in. A depreciating asset. Okay, but wisdom, it don't depreciate. It's better than silver and gold. Scriptures, there's plenty of scriptures that compare this wisdom into that's pretty much better than silver and gold. Precepts, Matthew 6:19, lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth where moth and rust doth corrupt, like Esau does. Okay, temporary things that rot away, depreciates. Wisdom doesn't depreciate; it gets better and better, man. Job 13:28, and he as a rotten thing consumeth as a garment that is moth-eaten. Yeah, you consuming away. 1 Timothy 6:7, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. That's right. You can carry nothing out. You came in here with nothing, you're going to leave with nothing. James 5:3, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Their wealth is cankered, corrupted, or rusted, meaning it will turn against them. The very riches they trusted in will testify of their greed and injustice. And that's exactly what this what the news is saying. And he's saying it out of his own mouth. I'm suing myself. You know, his pride, he's so blinded by his pride that he's so blatant with it that he actually doesn't even see anything wrong with that. When they told him about him not paying taxes and stuff like that, he said, I'm smart because of that. You ain't smart because of that, man. You're a fool. You just criminalized yourself on the highest level. On the highest level in front of everybody. Tongue falling upon itself, man. You don't look good anymore, man. It's not a good look. Edomites it ain't a good look to be an Edomite. You look like a damn fool. And you're starting to be more wicked every single day. We see it. I see it every single day. I try to point it out as much as I can so everyone else can see it too. How much you people are wicked. You people need to get locked up, man. It's time to do your time. They've stored up wealth not for safety, but for destruction in the last days, when God's judgment will expose their sins. That's right. That's what judgment does. Ezekiel 7:19, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of wrath of the Lord. That's right. So, and it tells you in Isaiah the 13th chapter that the Medes are not going to regard your silver and your gold. Esau think he can throw money at everything, man. Those days are over. Those days are over. No one wants your Federal Reserve notes, your digital currencies. They don't want it. They want you. Okay? They want prophecy to be fulfilled. Judgment. Numbers 35 and verse 33. Okay? So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are. Where you at, Esau? You in America. Okay? For blood it defileth the land. Whose blood did you spill over here, Esau? It said that you killed so many Native Americans, you reduced the population, the climate changed. You know, there was a huge footprint you just erased from the whole world. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. That's justice, Esau. The blood that you shedded, that's a lot of blood. I mean, it changed the whole carbon footprint. Here it is. You trying to fix the carbon footprint, right? You got tax credits. You got population control with Microsoft owner. You got you got technology for cows, and you blaming it on that. No, it's you. It's literally you. Once you get cut off, hey, that brings the CO2 footprint to where it's supposed to be. Okay, this is the answer to climate change. See, the Lord got the answers for all the issues of this world that need to be fixed. Defile not, therefore, the land which ye shall inhabit, and he defiled the land in which he inhabited, wherein I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. So, there you go. So that blood needs to be shed for justice. It's a just act, Esau. Proverbs 10:2, treasures of wickedness profit nothing. Romans 2 verse 5, but after thy hardness and impenitent heart, treasurest up unto thyself wrath against the day of wrath. James 5:4, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. So the laborers, going back to Job 20 and 22, every hand of the wicked shall be upon him. So the people who are not getting paid, eventually they're going to have to make a decision, and that's what we're getting close to that. This is day 21. We just crept into day 22. This verse directly accuses the rich of oppressing workers, withholding wages from laborers who toiled in their fields. God hears the cries of these defrauded workers. The Lord of Sabaoth, Lord of hosts, means the commander of heavenly armies, showing that God will avenge the oppressed. Okay? And goes to Leviticus 19 and Deuteronomy 24 and 14. Okay? You're supposed to pay him at the end of the day. But he's doing everything he can to go around that. All right? He's doing everything he can. Given to the rich. This refers to those who flatter or bribe the wealthy for personal gain, hoping to receive favor or status, but such actions are vain. Instead of blessing, it leads to poverty and disappointment. Proverbs 28 and 27, he that giveth unto the poor shall not lack, but he that hideth his eyes shall have many a curse. You hiding yourself from giving to the poor? Proverbs 19 and 17, he that have pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he have given will he pay him again. Proverbs 22 and 16 teaches that greed and favoritism toward the wealthy lead to ruin, while showing mercy and fairness toward the poor brings true blessing. Both oppressing the poor, catering to the rich are forms of corruption, and God ensures that those who practice them shall surely come to want, meaning they will eventually lose what they sought to gain. Okay, and that's what's happening here.
Again, David, this is an unprecedented situation that would likely require the DOJ officials who once served as the president's own personal attorneys to sign off on that $230 million payment to the president. Tonight, the Justice Department tells us they will follow the advice and guidance of career ethics officials. David.
Rachel Scott live at the White House. Rachel, thanks. Now to the government shutdown, day 21, no signs of compromise. Millions of Americans, of course, affected, and now mounting worries over paying the bills and, for many, putting food on the table. At the White House today, President Trump hosting Republican senators. The president calling the sound of demolition at the White House for the president's new $250 million ballroom music to his ears. Mary Bruce at the White House tonight.
Tonight, on day 21 of the government shutdown, the president inviting Senate Republican leaders to lunch in the Rose Garden, telling them all about the construction underway for his new $250 million ballroom in what is often called the People's House. The president once said the project wouldn't interfere with the current structure of the White House, but cameras caught bulldozers razing parts of the East Wing.
You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh. That's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, Reminds me of money.
As the shutdown drags on, Democrats digging in on their demand that Republicans repeal Medicaid cuts and extend health care subsidies that will soon expire, causing insurance premiums to rise for millions of Americans.
Ooh. Repeal Medicaid cuts, extend health care subsidies. Hold on, what did they just say?
Causing insurance premiums to rise for millions of Americans.
So your deductible's going to be probably the cost of what the hell the issues for. Insane, man. These insurance companies are full of shit too. You get in a car accident, oh, you need to pay a $2,500 deductible. That pretty much is majority of the damage. You might as well just fix it yourself. Because whatever money you get from them, they're gonna increase it on your premium. You end up paying them more than what they actually dished out to you. So that's the same way this government is running. The same Ponzi scheme as these other insurance companies are running.
Republicans may not have time to fix people's health care.
And that Republicans repeal Medicaid cuts and extend health care subsidies that will soon expire, causing insurance premiums to rise for millions of Americans.
Republicans may not have time to fix people's health care, but apparently they got plenty of time for a mini pep rally with Donald Trump.
Today I asked Senate Republican leader John Thune, why not just talk?
Do you owe it to the American people to at least be negotiating?
Well, I think we are. We have negotiated. I don't know what there is to negotiate.
But thousands of miles away from the Rose Garden in Decatur, Georgia, Juan Sorrow, a disabled Navy veteran, worries if this shutdown drags on, he won't be able to feed his family.
It is literally the difference between eating and not eating on any given day.
Like 42 million other...
I gotta grab it. A man that suffereth poverty. Ecclesiasticus. 26 verse 28. There be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry, a man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin. The Lord prepareth such an one for the sword. Right? But it grieves his heart to see a man of war suffer with poverty, man. And that's what he's saying. He done fought for this country, and how is he going to feed his family?
It is literally the difference between eating and not eating on any given day.
Like 40...
Now, why would he just not eat? You know, people are going to be making some crazy decisions in the near future. This is affecting all aspects of life. And he probably going to give him an ultimatum. Hey, you better join this ICE thing, or you ain't going to eat. Nobody going to eat unless they on this side. He getting He want $230 million of taxpaying dollars. The ballroom costs $250 million. Okay. So he's trying to spend your money on a stupid ass ballroom.
2 million other Americans, he relies on SNAP, the supplemental nutritionist. 2 million other Americans worries if this shutdown drags on, he won't be able to feed his family.
It is literally the difference between eating and not eating on any given day.
Like 42 million other Americans, he relies on SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is set to run out of money in a little over a week.
He relies on SNAP. Someone who fought for this country. So it ain't just a bunch of poor black bitches from the projects feeding 7, 8 kids with 10 different baby fathers. 7, 8 different baby fathers. Okay? People who fought for this country also rely on government assistance. Okay, to feed their families. So this affects a lot of people, and they're talking about, oh, we're going to go in the stores, and what are you going to do when he's in the store too? And he need to feed his family. You think he's just going to back down to some angry black woman? He going to blow you away. Just like that chick at McDonald's that stabbed that woman's mother. She had 4, 5 daughters at home. And got killed by somebody that worked in a McDonald's, fellow employee. So all that rah-rah bullshit, man, you're going to be in a worse out predicament when you're met with the sword. because that's how the Lord is going to plead with your flesh. Okay? You don't want to obey the Lord? Guess what? He got something for you.
A game. This is real lives. You know, little children are being affected. You know, veterans are being affected, and people. We've served our country faithfully, and then now it's time for the government to help us and to serve us.
Now, President Trump says he won't meet with Democrats until they first reopen the government. And at 21 days, this shutdown now tied for the second longest ever. The longest ever, 35 days during President Trump's first term. David.
Yeah, so hence, I believe it's going to go over 35. If I had to place a bet, it'd be on the over on this one. And the way things are looking, your EBT is going to be snapped. He gonna snap your benefits. The Lord gonna snap your benefits, man. He literally gonna snap it. That's funny he called it snap, man. So you're done. You through. Then what you're gonna do? You're gonna have to go out there and catch a bunch of diseases, man. Just so you can put food on the table. And it's all because you're wicked. It's all because you didn't want to keep a man in the house. You didn't want to do. It's all of the above, man. All that wickedness is catching up with you.
All right, thank you, Mary. Tonight, a midair scare on board a flight from Omaha to Los Angeles. The passenger plane making an emergency landing. The pilots were alarmed by the pounding on the cockpit door during the flight. So, what was behind it all? Here's Gio Benitez tonight.
I don't care about that. All right, I really don't care about that. Get this in Malachi 4. Shalaki, Micah 1. Oh, Micah 4. No, Shalaki. I think it is Malachi 1. Yep, Malachi 1:1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord will be magnified from the border of Israel. And I'm ending right here. Lord's will, this was that.